welcome to Mini Cooks, and today we're going to be making a tomato soup. And I found this recipe from a cookbook, and here you're watching the ingredients are. Also, the recipe is down in the description box, so please feel free to check that out there. Hello everyone, just joking. Now we're going to heat up the stove, and we're just gonna get like a pretty deep pan, and you're just gonna put some olive oil inside of it. So make sure you put a pretty good amount, because we're gonna saute those onions you saw in the beginning of the video there. So make sure you get a pretty deep one, because the tomatoes will also have to go there. The recipe is also down in the description. So now just make sure that oil is heated up, and then we're going to add these fresh tomatoes and chopped up onions. You're kind of like dice them almost, and those are going to go into our potter pan that's already hot. And make sure that the oil is pretty hot so you can hear like the onions kind of like sizzling. And you're going to mix it all together, not all together necessarily, but you're just going to give it a mix and until the onions, and you gotta wait until the onions turn like transparent, or maybe just a little bit light brown. Make sure you do that. And then we'll give other tips and tricks as a video, so just make sure you're watching for that. Don't skip through the video. We're gonna give those, that comes from us, not the book written by America's Test Kitchen. Even though it's a really good author, the tips and tricks all come from us. So I just want to let you know that. Just stay to watch those. So we're just going to give this a mix, and then after it kind of turns that brownish color or that transparent color, we're going to go ahead and add our broth and tomato, the cans of tomato, and we'll actually do that later after this is finished. Like, we're going to do that right after this step. If you're looking in the recipe, you can see it there. So we just put a little bit of water, like 1/4 of a cup. That is to make it so the tomatoes and the vegetables, their flavors really spill out into that juice. And then when you add it in, it'll just make it really good. So just don't forget to add that 1/4 cup of water. It'll make your soup experience for this a lot better. So now we're going to go ahead and add in our diced tomatoes that we opened with the can. And there's going to be 2 cans of that. You'll see down in the ingredient list the size of the can. And it's also in the recipe. We are doubling the recipe, just so you know that. Now, we're just going to let this mix in. And after this starts to come to a boil, you're going to want to get a lid for whatever pot/pan you're using, that when it is boiling, it doesn't splatter on you, because you don't want that. That's the lid that we're going to be using with the pan. And you might want to have an adult do this if you can't do this yourself, because if it splatters, it gets really hot. So don't burn yourself either. If your handles get hot, make sure to wear mitts so that you don't burn yourself. Now we're just going to mix this all together, starting with my finger in there. You can see the steam is starting to come up, but it hasn't started bubbling yet. So as soon as it starts to bubble, we just added some brown sugar, because it calls for brown sugar. It's about like a tablespoon. And we just eyeballed that. We didn't actually use the tablespoon and put it into our hands. And our hands were clean at the time. We just washed them. So make sure it's clean if you're making this for someone else, and yourself too. Make sure that you want clean stuff. We just added in the broth, and so we're just going to give this a mix together. Hello guys. So now this should be on high heat. Remember, just before our is not quite to a boil, it's just starting to bubble and it's starting to simmer and not a boil quite yet. So now we are gonna want to add a little bit of some spices in here. So you'll see in a minute, we're gonna be, not in a minute, but in a couple of seconds, we're gonna be adding some spices into here because this makes our soup a lot better. Our soup a lot better. Maybe just, oregano, and I think some salt and pepper. Yeah, some salt, pepper, and finally some oregano. Hello again. So now we are going to be, this got to a boil, now we're just going to be putting some yogurt in here. Normally we would put sour cream, but since we don't have sour cream, we're going to put yogurt. And it's just going to make the soup more rich. And then just going to mix that through. We are now blending the tomato sauce in a blender. Make sure you wait for it to cool down. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.